Hey, IDS 302, fall session A. Trying to get my light down a little bit, but anyways, it is Sunday, August 23rd, 3:38 p.m. And I just got done with the 301 video. Let's see if I'm not too repetitious. Boy, it's driving me nuts, all that light. Maybe that's a little better. Um, Hey, some housekeeping, as I would call it. Number one, these videos are not extra credit, in case you haven't already realized it. I'm not saying everybody thinks so. I just want to be sure you know. Just like anything else in the class, you can call it required or not. I mean, you're adults. What's required? I mean, you choose what you do, right? So these are worth 5 points each. You do them or you don't do them. Obviously, you're doing them because you're watching it, right? That's just a great paradox. I'm not talking to the students that should be hearing this. Okay, so by the way, I've been trying a new module schedule in 301 and 302 this semester because it's a 51-day semester session. That's just weird. So it is not divisible by weeks or by 6 modules. So what I'm doing is I'm dividing it up based on the workload, I think. So your intro module here is only 6 days. There's not a lot to do. Trust me, it gets better. Well, better is a relative term here. um, module 1, 8 days. Module 2, 8 days. Module 3, 7 days. Module 4, 10 days. Module 5, 12 days. That may drive some of you crazy. I can't blame you. If you write it on the evaluation, I really can't blame you. But all I can tell you, though, is that this is a challenging course. I want to balance it out. I don't want you to stress over dates, over, you know, things that just aren't, they don't symbolize anything except the chronological order of the class. All right. So again, I'm going to impress upon you that if you're going to be late with something, you know you're going to be late, you send me an email and say, hey, I'm going to be late. I'll turn this in on Sunday or whatever. Okay. You don't send me elaborate excuses. You don't have to send me documentation. Just tell me. We all live in life, and you got to work. You got, 40 hours a week, whatever, and I get it. Okay. So, all right, but again, give me your feedback whenever possible. I appreciate your patience, but I really appreciate your feedback. When you send me the Easter eggs, put in the note, email somewhere. It's 302 that you're in 302. So, because right now I'm doing the same Easter eggs for 301, 302, just because there's a lot of foundational concepts here that I don't want to just say Easter egg number one is coffee. I want to make it something that you understand is important, and I want you to, assimilate that. All right. Okay, so you'll do that, and let's talk about this integration thing. That's what this is, right? IDS equals integration. Interdisciplinary studies is the academic field of study of the integration. Okay, integration being the process. I mean, you integrate everything when you're looking for a new place to live. You integrate location with expenses. You integrate economics with geography, with all kinds of things, social studies. We integrate all the time. But here's where we really conceptualize it to a point of a process that fits in academia, all right? And it's a scholarship action, active scholarship. It's stepping up your game and it's having discipline. Look at that, discipline. Um, let's talk about disciplines real quick. From here on out, I want you to capitalize the disciplines, okay? All right? Because disciplines are proper nouns when used as disciplines. For example, I'm going to the shopping center because they've got sales on everything. I need to submit a paper on concepts of sales and marketing, for example. Okay, but one of those is capitalized, one of those is not. All right. I'm working on communication with my sons, small c. We're discussing communication in terms of interpersonal or blah, blah, blah. Communication, capital, talking about the discipline, right? Okay, so law enforcement officer lowercase. Law enforcement as a discipline, uppercase. All right. Politics, lowercase. Political science, both words, uppercase. If it has two words as discipline, capitalize it. You're going to find that I don't sweat a lot of stuff, but then I do have my pet peeves like everybody does. Okay. Um, and so moving on from that, let's say Easter egg number one is capitalize the disciplines. You got it, right? I'm just craving some coffee. It's too late in the day. Just watched Champions League. Anybody watch soccer? I was wearing my Venezia football club shirt. I got it in Venice. It has no bearing on today's game between Bayern Munich and PSG. Anyways, okay, so the schedule, like I said, of the videos, of the modules, is going to make the video schedule kind of, like I said, it's a fluid thing. Again, I know some people are really going to freak that they don't have definitive. I'm like that, trust me. I'm obsessive compulsive about things. If I do change something, if I change a due date, I'm pushing it back, giving you more time, right? I'm never going to confuse you with that. I don't want you to suffer in silence. I want you to push back. Tell me what's going on. All right. Same way, if you don't see your points applied, if I said, hey, thanks for viewing, John, 5 points added. If by the next day you don't see those 5 points, let me know, because I'm old. I could have forgotten. All right. Screwed up. I may have sent it back on my phone as I was sitting on a recliner back there. And then I thought I'd get to it and I never did. We're all human. We have our ups and downs, especially during COVID-19. Also, if any time during this course you get scores that you don't like, you don't want to take issue with it, bring it. No, just tell me about it. Okay, we'll discuss what the issue is, and many times I will just change the score just because you cared about it that much, right? But you're gonna have to be convincing. Okay, so I wanted to also, okay, let's see, I'm gonna skip that. Let me just bring up, because what the objective, one of them is in this course, is for you to apply your integrative skills, your interdisciplinary skills, to be a better consumer of knowledge. I noticed on Twitter, I saw AP, Associated Press, they wrote a tweet. Data suggests the number of virus deaths is significantly higher than the official toll, and deaths among minorities have risen far more than among whites, according to an analysis by AP and at Marshall Project. All right, and they got the link. The reason I want to bring this up because it's so important, and it really tells you this is legit. Data suggests. That is chef's kiss. Data suggests. Nobody's proven anything. And if it says data proves, I throw it out. Okay. Knowledge is an ongoing thing. You guys remember back in the old days when the world was flat, back in the old days when the earth was in the center of the universe or solar system? You remember that? When the sun went around the earth, this was all knowledge, the best we could do. Okay. And you don't remember, but I'm old enough to remember all these things that, the best we could do was, get some rockets out of the atmosphere. And then all of a sudden, the best we could do is go to the moon. And all of a sudden, the best we could do is get a reusable shuttle. Okay. We move on, right? Okay. There are things that we have now that I could not have imagined when I was probably your age. And there are also things that I did imagine that didn't come true. One of them was not having a damn pandemic, but data suggests, data shows, data infers, data, may predict. Data does a lot of things, but rarely does data prove. Okay, data, research is just adding knowledge to the field, redoing it. Okay, keep that in mind as you have an open mind on data. But so data suggests now. Okay, then it takes you to a link, and it just talks about the research that's going on. It's got charts, graphs, all kinds of things. But to be a good consumer of knowledge, you look at that and you say, okay, AP, Associated Press, do I consider that fake news? Do I consider it a good compiler of news? The way they phrase it, what's this Marshall Project? Okay, I'll give you an example. my brother, who's 3 years younger than me, different state right now, and he said, "Hey, I'm watching this biography of Hugh Hefner." Hugh Hefner was the founder of the Playboy Empire. Okay, boy, this guy was something. You got to see this. And I said, he goes, he was really a great guy. I said, well, some people would probably debate you on that. And okay, well, I said, there's a lot indications. I mean, there's misogyny, exploitation of women. There's things going on. And he said, well, look, they talked about how he was pro women's rights. He was pro this, pro that, women's rights. Okay, well, is that where we stop? If you really wanted to know, would you look further into it? Can you connect things as a consumer of knowledge? Can you connect the drive of capitalism to make money, which is not, if you're reading that as evil, then obviously, you got to open your mind a little bit more, okay? I'm not saying it's evil. I'm just saying, but what are some of the drivers of business, of an empire, okay? What was Hugh Hefner doing in the 60s to the culture in terms of accepting soft porn, in terms of, you know, was he standing by women as an ally? For what reason? This is where we get into all these things. Yes, we don't have to dig into all that because, I can go through more than a few days without thinking about Hugh Hefner. Okay, but I'm just saying that I have a hard time dialoguing with my brother and other people that just want to get on a surface level. No, you got to see this. Okay, well, if we really wanted to talk about it, then let's talk about it. But that's probably why this is my social life right here, right? I understand. Okay, so all right, but I'm just trying to give you examples of being better consumers. All right, we did Easter egg number one. Let's go with Easter egg number two, and this is going to be something that's going to appear in your writings for your paper, main paper. That is, you don't get to appear. All right, you don't get to appear. I didn't give you the Easter egg yet. Think about like a history textbook or whatever textbook you've read. All right, let's use history as an example. The history textbook, whether it's high school, will say the American Civil War started in 18 blah 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 and it was based on Abraham Lincoln as president blah 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 blah. You know what you don't hear in there? You don't hear. I always wanted to write about the American Civil War, and I was told that it started in 1853 by a professor back in the day. I really liked to learn about the Civil War because you didn't read that because they didn't get to appear. You didn't care about the writer, right? You cared about the information. As a scholar, learn how to write scholarly. That means you don't get to appear unless we're talking about you in a paper that's personally assigned to you in terms of your own history, opinions, perceptions, or whatever. So the Easter egg number two is no, I, me, my. No, I, me, my. It's a challenge for some students, but I will say that my summer B was the best at getting this so fast, and it must be because I hammered it into them so many times. No, I, me, my. You don't get to appear. The brutal truth on that is nobody cares. Okay? When you're doing research, when you're doing things like this at an academic level and stepping it up, researchers themselves, you're not going to hear, I'm doing this research because I always want to know more about the Titanic and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm doing this research to add to the body of knowledge in the field. Not enough is known about the circumstances of that 1913, whatever, Titanic, and in terms of the strength of steel and the weather and the iceberg and this and that. They don't appear unless they're the ones that took the sub down and did a lot of work on that. They don't appear. That's a tidbit, a little tip on research that I'm giving you today. Okay, I'll get to more of those as we move on. So what we've got is we've got this pick one. It's only a 6-day module. Pick one. I want you to look at those. I want you to glance at all of them. But you don't have to write about all of them, but I want you to see all of them. Because you never know, I might ask you about them. No, I probably won't. But all right, so you want to look at the pick one. There's some great things in there that'll resonate with you somehow. Interview, Michael Przdia talks with a former student. This is a student in the Interdisciplinary Studies program. Dr. Przdia is a colleague who I work with closely. He's my best friend in the university. He's my mentor. He's who I had for BIS 301 and 302. He's encouraged me to teach. I could call him right now, but it's a great interview. It's really cool to read that, to hear what he says about the state of the field. The Association for Interdisciplinary Studies. If you open that up, It's a website, and they did have a statement on Black Lives Matter for a while. AIS condemns racism. Again, I want more about that than this. I'm not directing you just to read that front page. I'm talking about the Association for Interdisciplinary Studies. That's what, if you pick that one, that's what I want. All right. Then there's an international network for the science of team science. Barker, Gilbert, and Stone, the interdisciplinary needs of organizations. Zimdar's the worlds of cross-functional teams. Both of those are not that current, but they are so appropriate for those of you who are functioning in teams and organizations and want to read a little bit more about that. And then the State of the Field by Bill Newell, who was the president of Interdisciplinary Studies Association, passed away last year, and it's a great article. So I'd encourage you to look at them all. I mean, really, I want you to. I encourage you to read all of them to get some out. But as far as writing about it, you only have to do one of them, okay? Submit in Word only. Word only, okay? You need to use Times New Roman, 12-point font, no cover page, all right? Yes, you can use a works cited page. Put it in the right place. No cover page, no table of contents, no abstract, okay? Just Times New Roman, double line spacing, paragraph indents, not big page breaks, okay? If you hear about it from me afterwards, know that it's just about tough love, and I want you to step up your game as we move into the big papers. And I know you'll get it, and we'll talk about this after I get to review what you've submitted to me. This is kind of a harmless thing, but it's important to get off on the right foot, right? And if you have any questions about it, I'm sure you'll let me know. Looking at my intro module, let's see. Tanner IDS model, we're going to talk a lot more about that, so we'll get to that. Boy, I'm hot in my apartment for some reason. Learning materials, what did I have? That's where it is. I just went through 301. I told them all about the readings that you're supposed to be doing. Okay, so looking at the disciplinary pyramid, this hopefully will be a repeat for a lot of you, but it just shows you how important it is that you understand where you are, what you're working with in terms of an interdisciplinary, the disciplinary pyramid. Is it intradisciplinary one, cross-disciplinary, seeing one discipline through the eyes of another, the mathematics of music, for example? Is it multidisciplinary with a lot of different disciplines, but they don't talk to each other, they don't care what each other has to say? Is it interdisciplinary where we're doing what? Integration? Is it transdisciplinary? Trans means it goes beyond the disciplines. It's more of a problem centric, and it will include stakeholders that are not disciplinary. For example, instead of a religious studies, it might have a pastor or rabbi. They're not necessarily religious studies academics, okay? Instead of law, you might have police officers. They might not have studied law. They studied, what they do for police. Okay, because disciplines are not occupations. Occupations, they take on certain disciplines, but disciplines are not occupations. It's economics. It's not economist. You are an interdisciplinarian from the planet Interdisciplinary Studies. Okay, you're not an interdisciplinary. You are interdisciplinary. Okay, try to get the nomenclature down. All right. So you want to look at the disciplinary approaches that visualize how that looks. Then you've got an article by Meath, very important. If it's a repeat, good. Know it. A little writing on interdisciplinary thinking and writing from our colleague, Dr. Brian McCormick. And then you got to read, you're reading chapters, introduction, chapter 1, 2, and 3. Pay close attention to this read. I had a complaint by a student on the evaluation said he didn't go over the readings as much as he should have. It felt like we were teaching ourselves. First of all, this is my style video. I think you probably agree most instructors don't do this. So there really isn't ever any discussion of the readings. And I'm not going to write more than is in the book for the understanding of the reading. So if there's something you don't understand, let me know. But it's pretty self-explanatory on much of this. And I go through it on a regular basis. And it's a great thing to have to, talk about. So read this stuff and, if there's something you want to talk about, let me know. I'll talk about it. I've done that. People sent me with the Easter eggs. Hey, could you talk about this? Bam, talked about it. Okay. You can look at your 401 info. Tanner model is what we're using in this course. Starting next module 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got papers in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you can do it. All right. Purdue OWL, I'll get into it. You do not need a cover page until the final paper. You do not need an abstract ever. You never need color on your paper, just black font and white paper. All right. The musical introduction, you know, you got it. Okay. It's not that difficult. Talking about yourself, right? So I did give the second Easter egg was no I, me, my. I gave you that. Okay. And then, okay, to pick one, and then we're going to get on to, oh, excuse me, we're going to get on to module 1 on the 26th, and we'll start really digging deep diving on some of this stuff. So in the meantime, that's about it. Let me know with your questions, comments, concerns. IDS 301, they had a video that was like 10 minutes longer. Lucky you guys. Let me give you my Easter egg number 3. Don't stress. Easter egg number 3 is don't stress. Okay, you will stress, but there's things called good stress. I don't want you to stress to the point of immobilization, like, oh my God, I'm dropping this course, I can't do it. Yes, you can, number 1. But if you don't want to do it, that's fine too. Again, college graduate, 2013, okay? So you do what's right for you, but don't be afraid of this class because you'll be proud of what happens at the end. I guarantee it. Okay. So don't stress. Let me know if you have questions, comments, concerns. I'm here. As I said, this is my social life. What else do you expect me to do? Other than that, have a good one. All right. Forks up. Peace.